Live.
What's
Yeah.
up,
All right.
Facebook and everybody else?
Welcome to the first ever Sloria Northern Luncheon webinar hosted via Zoom.
I hope you guys are all having a good luncheon.
We have 38 people on the call right now. It's 12:06, March 25th. We are week 2.5 of COVID-19, the crisis. America is shut down, ladies and gentlemen, but Tyler Jensen and his crew are not. So without further ado, if anyone has flipped a property, is flipping a property, has questions on getting into business, this man has flipped not one, not two, but 4 properties in 7 days. Just finished this last week. He did it all by only working 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So he runs a tight ship. He has a good crew, good people, good systems and processes. So he's going to give a presentation for the next 20, 30, 40 minutes on what he does and how he runs his business. And then everyone just take down your questions in the last 15, 20, whatever minutes. We're going to go into Q&A. So any questions you have about your business, about flipping houses, finding contractors, reducing prices, finding properties, whatever, he'll be here to answer it. So without further ado, everybody, Mr. Tyler Jensen.
What is up, guys? Thank you. So if you were on the call last night, it'll be very similar. I did a speaking webinar for Utah REIA. I do a lot of public speaking. So I've been in all over the country speaking. I spoke with Walter Bond and Jocko Willink. I don't know if you guys know who those guys are. I'll show pictures of them later. But I'll give you a background. We're going to jump through it. Put your questions in the chat. So there's a chat down here. Daryl can facilitate those questions kind of at the end, but type them in there and then Daryl will get to them maybe as we go through. Daryl, you can interject me if we need to, or we'll just answer all of them at the end. So welcome, guys. I'm going to share my screen and we will go from there. So, okay, so I'm going to burn through this pretty fast because there's a ton of content and I just want to make sure that you guys get a ton of value out of it. So I've been flipping houses for a long time. I lost track of how many houses we flipped. I think I'm well over 50. I'm not quite to 100 yet, but somewhere in the middle there. So I flipped a lot of houses. Let me see if this isn't working for some reason. Perfect. Can you guys all see my screen? Shake your head yes if you can see it. Yeah, okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, Tyler Jensen is me. So I wanted to talk, Daryl and I just talked before a lot of people jumped on the call about uncertainty. So I love this quote from my buddy Olaf. We're calling this controlling what you can control when things feel out of control. If things feel out of control sometimes, totally. So especially now, right? You're quarantined, there's earthquakes, there's all this other stuff that's going on. So control what you can control. And to me, that's your mindset, that you can accomplish these things, that you can achieve these things, that there's nothing really that you can't do. So just remember that we're still moving forward. We're doing business as usual. It's going to be a great time for us to capitalize as entrepreneurs because we're here to solve problems. So that's what we get paid to do, is to solve problems as entrepreneurs. And in my company, our slogan is best day ever. Every day in my company is the best day ever. And that's a mentality thing that I want my guys, I want my crew, I want everybody to have that same mentality that it is the best day ever and we're going to make it the best day ever. So all of my guys know this. They say it all the time. You'll see in some of the videos, we do cheers and just stupid stuff like that. So keep that mentality in mind. But we're going to talk about how we flipped several houses in 7 days. We've done it multiple times. We're really good at flipping houses and being high efficient and getting things done. So we're going to talk about how to flip a house in 7 days. You got to start with your why. This is where I always start, and my why is why I get up in the morning, why I do real estate, why I want to be successful is these guys right here. They are my why, and they mean the world to me, and I wouldn't know what to do without them. So this is why I do what I do. You have to know what your why is, and why is it important to you to be successful in real estate. So for me, these guys, these 3 dudes, and my beautiful wife, they're my drive. It's why I get up. It's why I challenge myself. It's why I keep running my business so I can give them opportunities that I never had. So start with your why. That's the biggest most important thing is your why has to be strong enough to keep you moving through these hard times and through these difficult times. So this is my why. They mean everything to me. Let me tell you my quick story. I started flipping houses in 2008 when the economy was awesome. Not really. It was crappy in 2008, way worse than it will be due to the coronavirus, I think. So I started doing wholesaling before it was called wholesaling. We would negotiate short sales. We would do A to B closings, B to C closings. So we would do double transactions. We'd negotiate with the bank, and then we would sell it to a retail buyer. So we used to do that all the time. And then I got into flipping houses. My first actual rehab that we flipped, we actually did a rehab on it. It's a great story. I lost $37K on my first deal. Woo, win. It was awesome. So I had leveraged all the money. I was in college. I didn't have any money to lose. I couldn't lose $37,000. So I had to leverage it. I borrowed it against, I just kept paying interest, and we did monthly terms. My second rehab, I said, I'm going to try this again. I got to pay this debt off now. Now I'm in the hole. We made $39K. Yay, now I'm break even. It took me 6 months to make no money. And then our third rehab, I did about 6 months after that, and we made 19 grand. And I was like on cloud nine. It was awesome. It was a ton of money for me back then. I was in college, and yeah, so lesson learned. It was a great education for me. I learned a ton by losing $37,000 on what not to do. And now looking back at that, it was an expensive education, but I'm glad that I had it. So I failed fast, and I moved forward, and I continue to learn from my mistakes. So when I first started, this was my foundation. This is a condo that I flipped in Bountiful, one of my very first flips that I did, but I was doing everything by myself, 100%. So I would do all the wiring, I would hang sheetrock, I would paint, I would do everything. So this is me. I just crawled out of the attic. It was like on a summer day. It was 120 degrees up there. I was running some wire, sweating my brains out. I was probably making 10 bucks an hour. So yeah, don't do that. Flipping houses by yourself is not the way to make money, and it will kill yourself. I remember being on spring break and all these other things that I would miss out because I was too busy flipping houses. So I'm going to skip past these videos for lack of time. But so what is a deal? I want to talk about that first. I don't know the level of what investors are on this call. So I want to just briefly tell you what I look for in deals and how to keep you safe so you don't lose your shirt like this. Right? Hopefully you saw that video. I don't know how your internet is, but anyways, hopefully you don't lose your shirt on your first deal like I did. This is our deal calculator. This is what my acquisition team uses. So if you look at this, we put in like today, it'll show up as today's date. We put in our purchase price, what our rehab cost is going to be, our ARV, which is your after repaired value. And then we discount it. If something happens to the market or we sell it for less or something, we have to take a discount for some reason. We put in interest rate. I don't pay. So if you're just starting out and you're borrowing hard money, you're likely going to pay this 12 and 2%. We don't use hard money very often anymore. We use a lot of private money. So a lot of investors that have cash in their retirement account or something like that we're using. But I just put these numbers in there for you so you could see what a hard money loan would look like. So we use a lot of private money. We don't use hard money, but you'll get the point in this breakdown. You have to pay your seller agent. We don't pay 3%. We've negotiated because we do a lot of volume, so we pay less than that. But again, for your numbers. And then we always, the houses that we're selling, we always plan on a $5,000 seller credit. And then you've got your closing costs. You've got your buy closing costs that you're going to have to pay on the settlement statement. And then when you sell the property, you have to pay taxes, a warranty, utilities, all of that stuff. So if you look down here in this bottom screen, hopefully you can see my mouse, but this is our profit for our flip. So for us, this would be a no deal, especially now. We changed our factors on what we're buying properties at, and we want at least a 70% LTV, and sometimes we'll go up to 75%. But we're not buying stupid deals anymore. We're not buying any of these 80% or anything greater than 80% on your loan to value. we're not buying those properties. Now is not a time to buy dumb properties because there is a lot of uncertainty that what's going to happen in the market. So, but this tells us if we, worst case scenario, if we held it for 6 months and we had to discount it by $30,000 just to move it, we would still make $13,160. So that would still be a good deal for some of you, but we're not in the game to make $13,000 because that can go away really fast. If you find a skeleton in the closet, you find mold or meth or something that you didn't account for, that $13,000 disappears really quick. So we want to see high value. We want to try and make sure that all of these are green, or at least as many of them as possible for us to do the deal right now. So be careful on the properties that you're buying. Don't just buy properties to be buying properties, especially now. Make sure you're careful, you're strategic, and you're doing things that you should be doing. So 7-day flip, let's jump into that really quick. 7-day flip, for us, there's 2 big things that you need to focus on. The most important thing is planning. We plan all of our flips, we put a ton of time and effort into planning our flips. So we probably spend just as much time planning as we do actually executing the flip. And that's super important. And then also people, we talk, you have to have the right people that are gonna be able to execute and get it done. So we'll break these down. I'll talk about both of them right now. So planning, you have to identify all these, who, what, when, where, how, all of that stuff is part of planning. So why flip a house in 7 days? One is time, efficiency. I wanted control over my business. There was too many variables that were going on. I wanted to guarantee that we were on time, on budget, that we could make sure that I could control all of those things and put this in a, create like a vacuum that I could make sure that we would hit our budget 100%, that we would be on time, and that I could ensure the quality of this flip as well. So I wanted focused, efficient contractors, reduce my holding costs, better quality, higher deal turnover. We can do more deals than most people because we're turning them a lot faster. We can adapt to a changing market, which is right now. So let's keep going. So ask bigger questions. Small questions yield small answers. So money is made in the efficiency. How can we measure twice and cut once? So hopefully you understand what I'm saying there. And how can we stack contractors? And when I say stack contractors, I always want 2 people on the job site at the same time. So I don't want, the worst thing for me as a rehabber is to show up to a property and no one's there. Nothing drives me more crazy than when I'll do a random inspection, or I'll be driving by a house or something and it's empty. I'm the only one there, and then I get ticked. So we want to stack contractors, so we always have 2 guys there at a time. I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. How can we do it cheaper, faster, better, twice the results with half the effort? And then the biggest question was, how can we really flip a house in 7 days? Big question. Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Everybody agree to that? That if you give a project 6 months, guess how long it's going to take? 6 months. College finals for me was that example, right? I would have the whole term to do it, and I would pull an all-nighter right before the exam or right before the final project. So work expands to fill the time. So I said, hey, instead of us taking 6 months to do this flip, we're going to do it in 7 days. And my project manager, when I first told him, I'm like, hey, I want to do this house in 7 days. And he's like, that's not possible. You can't do that. And some of you are probably thinking the same thing. How do you flip a house in 7 days? Well, we asked those bigger questions, and I controlled all of the variables. So these are the variables that I could control: quality, speed, results, which would in turn reduce our costs, which is true. We've done tons of case studies on this, and that's very true right there. This is what I call the trifecta of flipping houses. You have to have all 3 of these in order to make money. You have to stay on budget, you have to be on time, and you have to have high quality. If you don't have these things, then you're going to lose. You're going to lose money. So we control all of those. And in the 7-day flip was a science project that I needed to control the budget, I needed to control the time, and have high quality at the end of the day. So that's what we did. And if you learn nothing from this presentation, you have to know these 3 things if you're flipping houses. They are crucial. So the budget, let's talk about that. We're going to talk about all three of those in the trifecta. So the budget, these are what we call layers in our jobs. Everything is based on these. Our time, our quality, and our budget is based on these layers of a job. So we have 20 layers, and we go through every single one of them in immense amount of detail. So take a picture of this, do whatever you need to do, but these are the layers that every flip for us has. So tie-in for us, someone asked me that question last night, but tie-in is like hardware and all the little things that have to be done, doorknobs, toilet paper holders, cabinet hardware, all of that stuff. Blue tape is someone physically walking through the property, checking the lights, blue taping everything, paint touch-up, all that kind of stuff. So the budget, this is our one section of our budget, which is just electrical work. So what I would do if I were you and I was starting and I wanted to really hone my craft in flipping houses is I would take that list of 20 job layers and I would go through every single one of them and just brain dump on everything you can think of that you would possibly have to do on a house. So for us, this is everything that we would ever do in a house for electrical. So we go through all these, replace the smoke detectors, install carbon monoxide. So we know how much they cost. What is our cost for a smoke detector? What is our cost for a carbon monoxide detector? And then we've negotiated with our contractors. This is going to be a gold bomb for you, and I'll talk about it more in a minute, but we know exactly how much we're paying each of our contractors on a piece rate, not on an hourly rate. So we had an in-house crew and we had subs that we would hire out, and our in-house crew was almost 3 times as expensive as our other subs. And that was because we were paying them hourly. They could dick around and not do anything, and we would pay them by the hour just to get stuff done. Now it's my company is 100% piece rate. They get paid by the piece of the work that they perform. So we call that standardized pricing. So instead of us getting a bid, saying, hey, electrician, we need a bid on this house, how much would it cost? We tell them what the bid is. Hey, this is what we're willing to pay, and if you'll do it for this price, then you can have the job. So we don't take any more bids. We do 100%, we give them the bid. So it's all standardized. It's fair for them. We've negotiated with them, hey, what makes sense to you? And it has to make sense to us, but we never pay retail. And we always control the costs up front. So I could walk through a house and I could put in, there's 10 outlets, there's 8 switches, there's 4 remodel cans in the living room, there's 4 can lights in the kitchen, and I can cost out my budget pretty close because I already know how much the materials are and I already know how much the labor is going to cost me. So that's a huge thing to keep in mind, all of those things. So anyways, I'm going to move this up here. Makes sense so far? Good. This is what our budget looked like for one of the 7-day flip houses. So we took all those layers again. We did everything that had to be done. We got rid of all the rest. And this is what our budget looked like. So you can see that really quickly. I'm just watching my time here. So this is time. So we talked about controlling the budget. Now I want to talk about controlling the time, also super important. So this is called a Gantt chart that you can see, and we Gantt chart everything. In project management, this tells all of my 20 layers that I already showed you and when they're going to be completed. So day 1, we had to do demo, we had to do HVAC, we had to do rough electrical, rough plumbing, and start roofing. So we started that day 1. I could have roofers on the roof, I could have demo guys, I could have electricians doing their thing and rough plumbers doing their thing because they wouldn't be in the way. And so we Gantt charted everything. These are the milestones that we had to achieve. And when we're not doing a 7-day flip, we still do one of these Gantt charts. It's just longer, and maybe it's 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but we still know when guys are going to show up and if we're running on time or we're running behind. And then we can either push on the gas and kind of talk to our contractors and say, hey guys, you guys are way behind the ball. We need to pick it up. You need to stay late, or you need to do something different. We need to find a different crew. Or we can see that we're trending to be on time. So this is the outline. This is what our first 7-day flip looked like. This is everything that you needed to know, and when we started it, how we did it. This is the recipe for how we did our first 7-day flip and how we did it in 7 days. So you can see this, take a picture of it. I'll give you my slides later if you want to review all those. Then we create these work orders from our budget. Now we're going to start talking about quality. So when we do our budget, it automatically populates these work orders, and we're very specific with the quality that we expect from our contractors. So it tells them what tile it is, what grout it should be, how it should be laid, how it should be tiled. This was from on our team, we have designers that come and help us design some of our properties. Sometimes we just use templates. If it's just really turnkey, we'll use the same stuff over and over again. But sometimes on these unique houses, we want a designer to come in and, let's be real guys, to give us a woman's touch, right? You need that in flipping houses because women buy houses more than men do because they are very tied into it emotionally. So we need a designer. So this is what our fireplace looked like before. This was our design plan. Our designers were very specific on the quality that they expected. This should be this tile should be like this. It's a herringbone pattern. The fireplace should look like this. Here's the tile that you should use, the grout, everything you need to know is in here. And then we executed. So that's what it turned out to look like, exactly how we planned it. And we do that for a reason, because I want to control the budget. We talked about that. I have to control the time, and I have to ensure that it's high quality every single time. And this is how we do it. We control that quality by telling our contractors that it is very color by number. So we want to keep it simple for them. We want to give them all the tools that they need. They don't have to make any decisions. They can just go and execute and get it done. So that's how we control quality. This was our first 7-day flip house. It's one of my favorite houses. It turned out amazing. So this is the original picture. This is what it looked like before. This is what our designers came and brought to the table and said, hey, we want the house to look exactly like this. So my crew came in and boom, I feel like they nailed it. So it looks exactly what we had planned, and nothing changed in the plan. That's why this one went so successful. We really did this house in 6 days. On the 7th day, we just kind of hung around. We sat on hammocks and talked and had a barbecue and did some touch-up paint. So that was really a 6-day flip, but it was so well planned that the execution was the easy part. Things you need to know on the 7-day flip. I'm going to go through these again quick just for sake of time. Material management, job site management, tools, materials, you have to control all of those. Crew, are your people showing up? We said no Home Depot runs because that kills efficiency. We catered lunch. I'll talk about that in a second. And no changes to the design plan, because if we start changing something, it domino effects and it kills the whole project. Planning. So in all of our 7-day flips, we get a U-Haul truck. We do that for a couple of reasons, that it's stacked strategically from day 1 to day 7. So my guys can open up the thing, all their materials are there, they're ready to go, and they know exactly what they have to get done today. So we staged this truck because we don't want to keep stuff on site. It will grow legs and walk away. So we just get a U-Haul. It's part of our cost for the rehab budget. And it works out really good because we can pick up materials, we can source everything, everything's on site. So we don't have to wait for any suppliers. We don't have to do any of that. Lunch, has anyone ever figured out how much lunch truly costs on a job site? We did. So again, we took our planning down to lunch. How much does it cost for our guys to take lunch? So we had 20 guys, usually on a 7-day flip, in and out throughout the week. But if they took a 2-hour lunch, we would lose 4 hours. And now you say a 2-hour lunch, that's crazy. My guys take 20 minutes. They heat up a tortilla and that's their lunch. Okay, but if they have to go get lunch, or they have to take a smoke break, or they have to do anything like that, then we said that it would probably be closer to 2 hours that we would lose in efficiency. By the time they ate, they went and got it, they came back, they smoked, they BS, they do whatever, then we would lose 40 hours a week if we did that. So that's $800 a day, and that equates over 7 days to $5,600. So we brought in lunch, we catered lunch, and that it cost us about $800 to $1,000. but we saved a ton of money in efficiency and efficiency loss. So something to keep in mind. Do I think you need to buy lunch for your contractors on every flip? No. But for us, it was one of those things that we had to plan in order to finish it in 7 days. So I'm going to skip past this video. This is finding contractors. I'm not going to talk a ton about this. We can talk more at the end if you want to. This is how we find our contractors. You're welcome to look at this as well. Let me know if you have any questions. Hiring contractors, the biggest thing is, do they fit in our culture? Are they willing to accept our payment plans, how we pay them? We're hiring the person, not necessarily the job. So we want guys that can get along, that we feel confident in, all of that stuff. Here's our contractor packet. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. This is what we require all of our contractors to give us if they want to work for us. We want contractors that see the bigger picture. So we're all about building castles in my company, not in fighting dragons. So I don't want to fight dragons. Dragons are a distraction. They're contractors that whine about getting paid. They're contractors that whine about their quality. So we get rid of those. We want contractors that are thinking big picture. How can they win and how can we win? So get rid of bad contractors quick. All right, some gold bombs. I want to just review a few things. So gold bombs. Standardized pricing, I talked heavily about that. It will help your business substantially if you have standardized pricing, because we control the cost now. I'm not giving a bag of money to Mr. Contractor and saying, hey, contractor, please spend this money wisely. It won't happen. You'll get burned. You'll overspend. It will take forever. Daryl's shaking his head. So I know that he's experienced that. So standardized pricing, we have to control those costs. Spend time. Now's a great time to get online, go to Home Depot, figure out how much it is for a boob light, how much are plugs, how much are switches, how much is 2x4s, whatever you would need for your flip. Figure out that cost, work with your contractors in the beginning to make sure it's a fair price for them, and then figure out what that is. My template will be different than yours. We've negotiated, we have long-term relationships with our contractors, and they know our system. When you're first starting out, you've got to negotiate that. So negotiating with our contractors is a huge thing. Hey, I can't pay you retail on this, but I'll give you a lot of work. Or I promise I'll give you every flip that we do. You'll be the electrician if you give me a better deal. Negotiate with your contractors. What do they want? They want to be paid. They want to be paid on time. They want to feel like they're adding value. So we provide all of that to our contractors. What do they want? And how can they fit in your culture and in your system? Build your culture, okay? Not your crew. So we're all about culture in my business, and we want guys that can hang out with my kids and that are going to be friendly to my wife and that aren't going to, swear around my kids or all of that stuff. We want to build a good culture of these crews that are hardworking guys that want to work for us. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit. We're running out of time, but my Facebook plug, let me tell you this story. So on this 7-day flip that we just did, these 4 rehabs in 7 days, I talked to our meth guy, Ben, over at Asset Environmental. I said, hey, bro, we're going to do all these Facebook Lives. We're going to talk about the 7-day flip every day. What's it worth to you if we give you a shout out on Facebook? And that's all I said. And he's like, well, I'll give you a $500 discount if you just tag me in one of your posts. $500, guys, $500 for doing nothing. All I had to do was ask the question. So then I started asking that question to everybody. Our cabinet guy gave us $500 off. Our drywall guy gave us $300 off. So in a matter of 2 hours, I had negotiated $1,300 just for plugging them on Facebook. They're young businesses. They're trying to grow their company. They know that I'm an established flipper. So $1,300, guys, on a $40,000 rehab is substantial amount of savings. So use the Facebook plug. That's a gold bomb right there. Just so you know, I saved $1,300 in 2 hours by making a few phone calls. What's it worth to you to plug you on Facebook? You're welcome. I'm going to skip past all this. So this was me. I told you guys when I first started, I did everything. So this is me installing a toilet. I promise you, you will not win. This is my crew now. So these are after the 7-day flips. The first 2 that we did, I have other pictures, but the first two flips, this was my crew. and they nailed it. It was awesome. So now I have a team of highly skilled people who are doing all the work for me, and I'm making more money. That I know that that's hard concept and principle to accept, but because they're skilled, they're doing it 10 times faster than I could, and they're doing it better. I don't have to do it 4 or 5, 6 times when I'm laying tile. They can get in and knock it out, and we can do it faster, be more efficient, and it's worth my time. I get to hang out with my kids while these guys are going to work. So super cool to have the right people. We talked about planning, materials, and people. Those are the 2 fundamentals for flipping a house. So I'm going to show you this video. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can. If not, then, but yeah, this was our first 7-day flip. So hopefully it works.
What's up, dudes? You guys ready for this? 7 days is the timeline, right? We've got to get it all done in a week. Battle is no time to sharpen your sword. If our swords aren't sharp yet, we're too late. 3, 2, 1, this is not just coming to work, making money, a good job of content. This is how I find fulfillment in my day-to-day life, you know? Like, I built something that I care about. I built something that brings me fulfillment in my craft, and that to me means probably more than we could ever do in this whole thing.
Did you guys see that? Yes, no? Yeah, you saw it? Cool. So that was the first, we did 40K rehab. We changed all the utilities. We put in a new kitchen, new bathroom. We put in 2 new bathrooms. It was only a 1 bath when we started it. We added a 2nd bathroom. I'm going to skip past this. This was our 2nd one. And then we just finished 4 rehabs in 7 days. I'm not going to show you a film on that. We had an actual TV filming company come out and film us. So we'll keep you posted on that. It's a 10 series, 10 episode miniseries. So I'll keep you posted on that. But it was a lot of fun. You get to see all the ins and outs, the bad, the ugly, everything that happened on these 4 rehabs in 7 days. So I'm excited for that. It'll be super cool to see that come to life. But Walt Disney said it's kind of fun to do the impossible. For us, the 7-day flip was that. It was doing the impossible. And it was a lot of fun. I still have a lot of fun. And now it's one of our tool bags, or one of our tools that we use when we're behind on a house. We need to move it quicker. The market's changing. We need to do something different. Then we can always pull out a 7-day flip and our guys can get it done. So, but if we learned anything, it was more of an education doing a 7-day flip. And that for us showed us that we could be super efficient. We could understand all of those things. We can control budget, we can control our time, and we can still have high quality. So in flipping houses and learning this skill, my biggest thing, if I give you nothing, if you haven't got anything so far, get this. So because we did a few 7-day flips before I went, this is in the Dominican Republic. I went and we were able to take a few guys to the Dominican and help these families that lived in these tiny tin shacks. They were hurricane ridden still. They hadn't recovered from a hurricane. And so we went over there and we built 3 houses in 14 days. And we couldn't have done that if we didn't understand these efficiencies. So my biggest pitch to you is learn these skills and do good. For us, this was going, you can see this picture up here that we're putting in power lines. We ran 1,500 feet of cable so this family could have power in their house. They were living out of candlelight before. Mixing our own cement, just hanging with these little kids, building these cool houses. It was a cool experience, and I'm so glad that we were able to do that and use our skills and understand this 7-day flip so we could do good. We could help other people. And it was an amazing experience, and we're going to do it again. I want to take more of my guys there this time. I want to take my kids back so they can experience that doing good. And then for Christmas, my company donated a rehab. We've rehabbed this lady's house in 2 days. So we painted it, we put new carpet in, we changed out the flooring, we added can lights, she had a whole bunch of mold in her one of her bathrooms, and single mom, had 3 kids. We came in and we donated the rehab to her. So my point isn't for for glory or anything like that, but the principle is that you can use these skills to do good. And that was the most important thing to us. And that's one of my core values, is doing good and helping other people. And so use your skills to help other people. And that's for us what we do. And we're probably going to do it every year. My company loved it. My guys were all in. They said, hey, we want to help this lady out. So everybody jumped in. We knocked it out in 2 days. And we learned the lessons learned from our 7-day flips to make sure we could knock it out and get it done in 2 days. So really quick, if you need a safe return, if you are an investor, you want to invest with someone, the stock market, you can see that was yesterday. So this is a year period that real estate is the opposite trend. It always appreciates over time. It's still a good investment. So if you want to talk more about investing, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you more about that, how we do it, how we deal with investors, stuff like that. But it's still a good investment. I'm still investing heavily in real estate, and I still recommend, instead of the stock market, because it's a lot versatile, invest in real estate. So talk to me, reach out if you want to invest, and yeah, we can go from there. We're also contractors. This is my 8-year-old on demo day. Hopefully you can see that. But if you need contractors that are really good, we are licensed contractors. We'd love to work with you guys. I know that Daryl wishes he would have hired us on those 2 Ogden flips that took, I don't know, a year or however long they took, right? Crazy. So we are licensed contractors. We would love to help you not lose $37,000 on your flip. So if you need someone to reach out and help you, we probably won't do your house in 7 days, just saying. It would be super crazy, but we'll do it highly efficient. We already know what you're looking for, and we're really good with working with investors. So if you need contractors, reach out to us. We'll see if we can hook it up. If you need a coach or a mentor, I do it for free. I do a lot of coaching. I'm a part of a group. It's called 7-Figure Flipping. I don't know if you're ever heard of that or not, but I do a ton of coaching for them, and it's all free. I don't get paid to coach. So if you need someone to mentor, run a deal past, you want to talk, hey, I'm running into this issue on rehab, again, reach out to me. I'd love to help mentor you or coach you or whatever it is that you need. So I want to talk about this really quick, the moment of truth. The moment of truth in Spain in a bull fight is that moment of truth right before you kill the bull. You have a decision to make. Is it the right time to kill the bull, or is the bull going to kill me? So that's the decision that you have to make. It's called the moment of truth, the el momento de la verdad, or where I come from in Redneck, it's called a butt pucker. So I grew up on a farm, and that feeling that you get when it makes your butt pucker and you have to make a decision. So a couple examples of that for me was how I wanted to quit my job, right? That was a moment of truth for me. So I said, hey, I want to pursue my dreams, but I don't know how to do it. And so it was that moment of truth that I took, and it was a hard decision to make. But we made that decision. I told my wife, I came home and I said, hey, I want to quit my job. I want to pursue real estate. I was in corporate America. I climbed the corporate ladder. I was a COO for a while. I did all of that stuff, but it just wasn't fulfilling to me. I knew I wanted to be in real estate and have financial freedom and freedom of my time. And I couldn't do both of those working in corporate America. So you have to take that moment of truth. Decide that you want it more than you're afraid of it. Don't let fear conquer you. Les Brown is one of my favorite guys that I love listening to us. And he says, too many of us are not living our dreams because we're living our fears. Don't let your fears control you. Don't let your fears, you have to overcome those things. Yeah, it's a crazy market and a lot of stuff is going on. We're having earthquakes, we're having coronavirus, we're having all of this stuff, but you can't live in fear. You have to be able to pursue and get your dreams, because if you live in fear, you'll never accomplish what you were born to do. And so you have to overcome that. And that's still a struggle for me. I still think about, oh, well, what do I do? And I have all this doubt and self-doubt, and you have to overcome that fear. So overcome that fear, stop living your fears and start pursuing your dreams. These guys are my influencers. I talked to you already about my why, my wife and my kids, but you need people in your corner that are going to push you and who are going to help you overcome that fear. My parents, this guy right here in the airplane, this is Bill Allen. He owns 7-Figure Flipping, and he is just a huge mentor of mine. And I talk to him on a weekly basis about how the market is, how I can grow my business. You need guys in your corner that help you overcome that fear. And these guys are my influencers. And man, I could not do it without them. So you need a coach, you need someone to mentor you, someone to have this, we love you and you can do it mentality to help you get over that fear. And then lastly, oh, too far, but you can't soar like an eagle when you hang out with turkeys. If you're listening to the radio or the news or to all this doubt, all these haters, you can't flip houses in 7 days. You can't have a successful real estate company. You can't quit your job and pursue your dreams. You can't do all these things. Those are the turkeys talking. And I tune all the turkeys out. I listen to the eagles, people that I surround myself with. I'm hanging out with Daryl. It's funny that when Daryl and I first met each other, we were both at Tony Robbins and we happened to sit right next to each other. And that was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. We were both starting our companies and we were listening to the eagles. We were listening to the Tony Robbins and to other investors that were doing things on a higher level than us. These are my eagles. This is part of my team and my tribe. This is Jocko Willink up here in the top left-hand corner. Amazing mentor and coach to me. I was able to spend a couple days with him and we did some speaking and some training and just a super cool guy. Walter Bond played for the Utah Jazz a long time ago. Super cool guy. Andy McFarland. I don't know if a lot of you know him, but he's here in Utah. He's a wholesaling like kingpin. He's amazing at what he does. All of these guys are my tribe and they're the eagles that I'm listening to, not to the turkeys. So I'm on a weekly touch with all of these guys and they're helping me to make sure that I get a pulse of the business and everything else. So hang out with eagles, not with turkeys. Stop listening to the news. Stop listening to all the haters. Stop listening to people who doubt you and go and pursue your dreams because you can do it. I promise you that you can. I'm living proof of that you can achieve your dreams. You have to block out all the negativity and say, I'm going to do this no matter what. And I'm going to burn the boats and I'm going to be successful and I'm going to start a real estate company and I'm going to bless families' lives and I'm going to do good and I'm going to bless my family's life. And so believe in yourself, have confidence in you that you can do it. You can control that. We talked about that earlier. Control what you can control. You can control your mindset. You can control your vision. You can control if you choose in your moment of truth to take the fear route or to take the faith route. I chose taking faith and I'm still going to take that path right now. So if you're in that moment of truth for you, that you're facing fear, I could either hunker down and curl up in a ball and stay away from coronavirus, or I can use this time to spend it and build relationships with my family, with my kids. I can homeschool. That has been an interesting experience for me, but it's been amazing. And I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to do that I get to hang out with my kids and I get to enjoy this time of quarantine. We don't get this very often. And I love it. I think we should be quarantined more often because it's been such a cool experience to be able to hang with my kids on a different level than I normally, with all the distractions of running a business and everything else. So my point is, take that moment of truth and always take the faith route and ignore the fear. You can do this. Here's my info. Reach out to me. Tyler Jensen on Facebook, Utah House Flip. You can see all of our 7-day flips that we've done on Facebook. UtahHouseFlip.com is our website. Email me if you have questions. I'd love to sit down with you. Whatever you need. I am an open book. I don't charge for anything. It's all about giving back to me, and that's the most important thing. So hit me up. Thank you guys. Let's do some Q&A if you have some questions.
Awesome. Well, thanks a ton, Tyler. That was freaking amazing. I'm fired up. I don't know about you guys, but that was good. Let's go in the group chat right now and do some rapid fire questions, answer those. And then after we finish that, we can do, people can unmute themselves and just ask you what they want. So let's see here. They want to ask, can they get a copy of your deal calculator?
Yes. Send me an email and I'll email you back.
Awesome. All right.
Here's my disclosure, right? CPAs and attorneys all have the same disclosure, right? Use it as a template. Don't use it for your business, okay? It's a template for you to go and you need to create it and make it right for you. Don't use mine because it will be different than your business. So adapt it to your business and totally you can have it. Just don't use mine because it's different. So.
Gotcha. All right. Next question. What are you doing differently now that the market's changing?
Just buying better. That's the only difference. Have I stopped buying? No way. We're going to keep going because we're going to capitalize on the opportunity. Everything could go on sale. I hope we do have a recession. That would be great for me. But we're just buying properties right now with the uncertainty of what's going to happen in people's jobs and stuff like that. We're just making sure that we're not buying stupid properties. We're buying really good properties right now. So we're still buying, we're still flipping. We just finished 4 rehabs in 7 days. So we're not putting on the brakes. We're just being cautious.
Nice. Next question. How can we get a hold of these slides?
Email me. I don't know. Is there a better way?
All right. Yep. Well, if you send me it, I have everyone's email that registered and I can just blast it out to them.
We'll do that.
So
I'll send it to Daryl and he can have the deal calculator and the PowerPoint, but still email me as well. I might forget. So
gotcha. Melvin asks, do we go through 7-figure flipping to get some mentoring and coaching?
If you want to, that's a paid program. That's more of a mastermind group that will help you do that. But if you need to get on me with a 10-minute phone call, then let's set it up. I'm happy to do those. I'm going to start doing webinars that are just 100% Q&A once a month. People always say, I want to pick your brain. If I had $1 for every time I heard that, then I wouldn't need to flip houses anymore. You can pick my brain, send me an email and tell me that you want to be on that webinar, and that's meet for lunch because there's nowhere to eat. So we'll have to do it that way, the virtual way.
Virtual way, I like it. Cool. Janelle Dunn asked, what is your process for finding your flips?
Great question. I'm going to throw it back at you. What's your process for finding flips? No, I want to ask her.
Oh, okay. Janelle, unmute.
Janelle. So there's deals out there. You just have to put forth effort. You could Google it and find 100 different ways to find property. Do you have money or do you have time? And so if you have money, then pick PPC or Facebook ads or direct mail or any of those things. If you have time, do driving for dollars. I have a buddy that just does 100% driving for dollars. He'll do 20 deals this year just on driving for dollars. And even Zach Booth with Booth Home Buyers, they do a ton of driving for dollars. They'll do 80 deals this year. So do you have time or money? That's the question you need to ask. And then you need to ask bigger questions. What am I doing to find deals? For my answer to that is I'll do whatever I can to find deals. We're networking with people. We're teaching students. We're getting deals on Facebook. I just bought a house someone found us on Facebook and said, hey, I have a perfect house for you to buy. We bought houses from divorce attorneys. We've bought houses. We do some network. I spent 12 grand in networking and we did just under 30 deals, or 12 grand in marketing last year and we did just under 30 deals. So there's deals out there. You just have to be resourceful and you have to go and find them. Look on the MLS, make offers on the MLS. That's free. Cold call on KSL. That's free. You're in quarantine, you might as well, right? That's what you're gonna do. Make phone calls and you'll get a deal.
Awesome. That's good stuff. I picked up a few tips there. Andrew Height asks, I know you said you don't work with hard money anymore, but for someone just starting out, where would you recommend looking for hard money lending sources?
Reach out to me. There's a ton.
All right.
But we do some lending, but just network with people. Get in these groups, come to the RIAs and find out who's lending money. But there's a lot of guys that'll do that. The best thing for you is to read the book, Getting the Money. So write that down, Getting the Money. It talks about how to raise private capital for your business. and it is much better than hard money. So a lot of hard money lenders they're putting on the brakes. They don't want to lend as much. They're being cautious on their LTVs. So private money is the way to go for us. It's cheaper and it's just a lot more fluid and less restricting.
Awesome. And then a lot of people are asking your contact info and your email. So maybe if you can just write that in the group chat so everyone has it.
Yep.
At
Utah House Flip.
Yeah. Greg Hayes says best webinar ever, and I've seen a few. So good job, Tyler. Dan S said, how are you finding deals on the buy side? I think you covered that one. Mariella asks, let's see, thanks for sending the info. Wholesalers are good resources. She's asking, are wholesalers a good resource?
Depends on the wholesaler. Some of them are great, and Daryl and I have done a lot of deals together. Some of them are not great. So be careful, run your numbers, make sure you understand what you're doing. Some wholesalers just send out bad deals and people are buying those bad deals. So be careful. That's my caution on wholesalers that I love. Trust me, we do a lot of business with wholesalers, but it has to be on our terms, not their terms. So we want to make sure that it's a good deal for us, that we understand our numbers, and that we're not just buying houses to buy houses.
Right. And as a wholesaler perspective, I do deals with a lot of like buy and hold holders who can spend more because it makes a really good rental. The ones I sell to Tyler usually need a big rehab, which, you know, some of the new people can't do it for as cheap or as fast as he can. So he can make it work when others can't. So it's all, you know, deal dependent.
Yeah, totally.
Leslie asks, you may have mentioned this before, but do you compensate your team differently based on them completing it in 7 days?
No, but that's a huge benefit for them. Instead of being drug out for 3 weeks and not getting paid, they get paid in a week. So they're making the same amount of money, but they're doing it in shorter amount of time. So they're going to make more money on they would prefer to do a 7-day flip because they're going to take advantage of it.
Nice. And if any of you guys have questions, we're coming up on the end of the questions. So if you have any more, throw them into the chat log and we'll get them through. Tori Welch asked, what are your metrics for filtering through possible deals?
ARV, after repair value. Here's a simple calculator to just do it in your head. ARV times 0.7 minus repairs will get you close to what your purchase price should be. And then you can move that up based on your comfort level. I wouldn't go right now in this market. I wouldn't go anything higher than 0.75 after repairs. We want a 25% margin at least in all of our deals to make sure if the market tanks, then I can still sell the asset and protect my investors. So ARV, after repaired value, what's it worth when it's fixed up, times 0.75, worst case scenario, minus rehab costs is what you should be buying it for. Did that answer your question?
Awesome. Tori, see if you answer that question. Yep, it does. Janelle Dunn asks, are there any other books that you would recommend that we read? It sounds like you and Daryl both like Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins. That's a hard question to answer. What do you need in your business? What do you need right now? Maybe you could answer that question. Unmute yourself. Yeah, go for it.
Just deals.
You need deals right now?
Yes.
Like houses deals? So you want to book on finding deals?
Yes, I mean, that would be great.
I would read, if you're looking for deals, negotiating books.
Okay.
Never Split the Difference is a great book. The Like Switch is another good sales book. I think it's called The Ultimate Sales Machine, something like that. But
yeah, Chet Holmes or by Chet Holmes.
Yeah, you're in the sales business. In order to get deals, you need to be a good negotiator. We get deals on the MLS all the time because we're a better negotiator than most people. And so learn how to negotiate, learn how to read people. And if you're looking for deals, you're in the sales business. Real estate is your product, but you are very much selling. You're selling yourself, you're selling your business, you're selling the end product. Real estate is just your widget. So you need to be in sales. Get into that.
Awesome.
You know?
Daryl, do you recommend any other books?
I don't read it anymore, but I would say like Grant Cardone's like Sell or Be Sold. It's a good book to like just get you hyped up and get you out there. And he talks about like just going all over, like doing Tyler saying like network to people, talk to the guy at the gas station, put yourself out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, let people know what you're up to. You're calling people, you're going through old leads, you're trying to find new leads. So it's just like that mindset of just getting after people because somebody might sell their house, but you talk to them today, they're not ready, but they might be ready in like 2 or 3 months, or there's no way they're going to sell their house, but it's in your breadbasket, but you follow up with them in 3 months and something in their life changed. So it's just that follow-up procedure, just really connecting with people, letting them know who you are. So when you reach back out, they kind of remember you, and then maybe you're the first call if something does happen.
I would listen to podcasts. So go to 7-Figure Flipping podcasts with Bill Allen, and he talks about everything. I've been on there a couple of times. He talks about how to find deals, how to raise capital, how to flip houses. I've been on there a couple of times. So do free podcasts because you can listen to them while you're cleaning the house, while you're going to the park, while you're driving in your car. It's a lot easier for me than reading a book. So look at those type of podcasts. 7-Figure Flipping. Daryl has a podcast. Bigger Pockets has one. I don't love their podcast, but I would do that, especially because it's more real estate niche based. So 7-Figure Flipping podcast, I think is what it's called. So
nice.
That's a
cool.
plug, like, not intentional.
Yeah. Nice. Ryan Riesback asks, what's your minimum profit margin you're looking for in a deal?
25 grand. So we want to net at least 25K by the end of the day because that number can get skinny. If something goes wrong, I have my staff and my overhead that gets a part of that. But as far as gross revenue, we want to make 25,000 because that's a safe cushion. Even if we screw up on something and we only make 10, then it's better than shooting for 10 and making 0. So we shoot 25K. But it's based on margin and return on your money. So
nice. Cool. Randy Gage asked, did you say your remodelers are contractors or employees working piece rates?
They're 100%. So we used to have an in-house crew that were W-2. Now they're all 1099. We made a lot of our guys go get their own licenses. We paid for them to get their GC, but my project manager is on salary and everybody else is 1099.
Nice. And then go ahead.
They have to provide their own insurance as well. I used to cover their workers' comp insurance, but they have to do that now.
Nice. Janelle asks, what do you and Daryl suggest is the best use of our time with our extra time that we have?
Hang out with your kids. That's what I'm doing. We're doing a get out of quarantine trip to St. George. So that's how we're going to go quarantine ourselves.
Nice.
It depends on what stage of business you're at, Janelle. Like ask, what do you need right now? Do you need education? Do you need to understand how to do real estate? Then be in the education side. So I think there's two paths that you take, and I've done both. I was heavy into educating myself and just eating a ton of content. And then there's a time that you need to take action. So if you're I need to educate myself, then just consume as much stuff as you can. And then you eventually need to pivot though, and you need to say, okay, now it's time to take action. Because if you take in too much content, you're going to do analysis paralysis and you're going to be stuck and you're never going to go anywhere. So consume content, but know, hey, I'm going to consume content for 30 days. And then on May 1st, I'm going to start doing something and take action. So you have to do both. Don't just consume information. You'll be the smartest, brokest guy ever. So.
Yeah, true that. Cool. And then Janelle asked, hey, Daryl, what's your podcast? It's the Salt Lake Business Podcast. So shameless plug there. And
so you're good.
Double plug. There we go. All right. Curtis asks, how do you streamline the permit process?
Permit process. I always get asked this question. So it depends on the city and your risk tolerance. On the 4-day rehab, the 4 rehabs in 7 days, we didn't pull permits. And I know that this is recording, but our risk level was really low. We weren't changing high utilities. We weren't re-roofing a ton of things. We weren't doing anything that really needed a permit. It was mostly cosmetic on these. And so we didn't really require a permit. We still got caught. Ogden City came and said, hey, you need to pull permits. It cost me $153 to pull permits in about a half an hour of our time. We drew up plans right there with the inspector. I beat him to the office. He didn't even have the report into the office yet by the time we had already pulled permits. So our risk tolerance was really low. If you're in Salt Lake County, pull permits and do it the right way, because if you get caught, their process is a lot not as forgiving as it was when we did these 7-day flips. So we knew that going into it, and we said, hey, and if it's anything for safety, if like meth, or we're changing out panels, or we're changing out water heaters or something like that, pull a permit, because I want my guys to be safe. But if it's something that we're swapping out plugs or we're adding 2 can lights, I know that the safety of that is pretty low. Guys aren't going to get hurt. The homeowners aren't going to get hurt, anything like that. So we do it on a risk tolerance and on a safety level. So if it's something that is high risk for safety, then we'll pull a permit. If you're changing out doors or cabinets, then we usually don't do that.
Awesome. Tori Welch asked, do you do single family homes only?
The 4 rehabs in 7 days were 2 duplexes. So they were very unique, their own rehabs, but yeah, we do multifamily as well. So I'd love to do a bigger 10-plex or something like that. We just haven't had a chance to do rehabs on those, but we do a lot of single family stuff.
Awesome. Guys, if you have any more questions, put them in right now. I got
nowhere to go.
I got nowhere to go too. So I'm going to ask you one of my questions, Tyler. If you were to start all over again and you only knew people that had hard money for 2 points and 12%, you had no crew, none of your contacts, where would you start? How many houses would you do? How would you find and test contractors?
Oh man, I would do it if I could do it all over again. I've lost tens of thousands of dollars dealing with bad contractors. That's just an experience that you have to learn. So what I would do if I was starting, if I lost everything and had to start over and use hard money again, I would partner with people. I would go and find people who were smarter than me and better than me and understood the market better than me. And I would say, hey, I'll do whatever it takes to find the deals. I'll joint venture with you. That's how I started. And I would probably do that again. That I would find people who had money and said, hey, I'll run the project. I'll find the contractors. We'll split it on the back end. Because taking half of a watermelon is a lot better than taking half of a grape. And so for me, I would say, hey, look, I'm willing to give up 50% equity in profit sharing so I can learn and I can grow and I can develop and I can learn from you. So I would team up with guys and with contractors, and I would just build my network, man. I would do a ton. I would go to these RIAs. I know it's crazy times right now, but I would reach out to people who were smarter than me and that could help me and help me get there faster. So yeah, if I were starting over again, man, I would totally use hard money and I would make sure that I understood, but we don't put any money into any of our deals. That's a myth that you have to put money into your properties. So I would find a way that I didn't have to put any money into my deals. And we don't do that now. So beg, borrow, don't steal, but whatever it takes to get it done. I'm the type of guy that if I need money, I'll make 300 phone calls till I get it. So you just have to be persistent and know that that's what it takes. And you have to be willing to put in the time and take action.
Next. Cool. Ryan Riesbach asks, what terms are you getting for private money?
Oh, it totally depends on whatever they need. So I never tell them you'll learn this and never split the difference. So I never give them a number. And even when you're negotiating with sellers, I never go first. If I'm negotiating with someone, they have to tell me the number first. I'll sit there for half an hour and not say anything. So they tell me first, and it depends on what they're making. So my dentist is a private money lender. And how did that come to be? He asked me what I did. I said, hey, I provide investors a secured investment via real estate with high returns. That's all I said. He's like, what? Tell me more about that. And so we talked about it. What's his IRA making? He was making 3% in his 401k or his IRA. And I said, well, what if I could double that? He's like, you could double that? And it's secured by real estate? Yep. It's not going to fluctuate with the market. So you get 6%. I'm anywhere from 6 to 10% roughly on private money.
With no points?
No points, yep. And no monthly payments. It's 100% accrued.
Boom.
Property.
Amazing. Tori Welch asked, how would you do buy and hold differently?
Buy and hold is different for me. I don't do a ton of buy and hold. I'll do a little bit to save on taxes. But yeah, I don't know what they are asking. How would I do it differently? Like, you buy and hold better? Tori, unmute yourself and tell me what you're trying to get at. No?
All right, while Tori's doing that, Ryan Riesbeck asks, explain the save on taxes with buy and hold.
Oh, man, Ryan, we're going to have to do a full another webinar on that. Lynn Boehm is on here. His wife is my CPA. She's amazing. And you need a CPA that understands cost segregation. So cost segregation, thank you, Mr. Trump, whether you like him or not, he's a real estate investor, which is huge for us as real estate investors. So cost segregation, you can depreciate like 70, I wish Janet was on here, but you can depreciate like 70% of the asset in year one. So when you buy a property, do a cost segregation study, and you can depreciate most of the asset in year one. So you don't have to pay taxes. You can use that as depreciation on your taxes. That's a whole nother webinar, man. I could talk for hours about that, but that's the gist. Cost segregation. Do a cost seg study.
Cost seg. Awesome, man. Well, I think that's all of our questions.
Your question? Okay.
All right, wait, we got one more. Jameson King. Can you refer us to your CPA?
Utah Real Estate Accountants is my CPA. There's a plug for you, Lynn. Yeah, I can see Lynn's giving a thumbs up. So they are my CPA and my bookkeepers. They are phenomenal. So.
Boom. All right, Tori Welch, different metrics, different markets, quality of rehab.
Are we going back to your question on buy and holds?
Yeah, yep.
Quality of rehab obviously is affected. So we're not putting in granite, we're not doing tile surrounds. In the bathrooms, we're doing something like that. It's fiberglass. So definitely the rehab is a lot less. We're doing cheap LVP instead of tile. So yeah, that all definitely changes. Different metrics on how we buy them. Not really, because man, I'm going to get into the weeds here, but on these 4 rehabs that we just did, I'm going to, if you haven't heard of the BRRRR strategy, buy, rehab, refinance. That's what we're doing with these units. So the buy strategy is the same. There's not different metrics because I want to have options that I can retail and flip it, or I can refinance it and pull all of my money out. So on these, I'll pull 100% cash out refinance, and I'll have the asset with 0 money into it that will be a performing asset that will cash flow. So I could talk, yeah, I won't go deep into that, but metrics are the same, different markets. I only invest in markets that I know. And then quality of rehab, I already talked about that.
Nice. How many rentals do you have?
For me, we're all about flipping houses right now. I'll buy more rentals when they go on sale, but I have 6 right now, and they're just a tax write-off for me. I don't like them. Making cash flow for $200 a month is great, and it's long-term wealth. I get that, but we're all about building cash and cash reserves. So flipping houses and making 25 grand in 3 months versus making $250 in cash flow a month. So
Nice.
Pros and cons to both, but for us, we're focused on rehabbing right now. Will that change as the market changes? 100%.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. That was all the questions. I want to thank each and every one of you. We had, I think, a peak of 49 people on at one time. We held it at like 45 people for probably the solid 45 minutes. There's still 35 people on, and we're like an hour and 15 minutes deep. So that is pretty damn impressive. I want to thank each and every one of you guys, and I will give the final last words to Mr. Tyler Jensen. Tyler, take us away.
I already talked about it. I closed it out. But if you're just starting, then just start. Don't wait to start. Don't do anything. Just start. Just start moving forward and learn as you go. It's okay to fail. You have to understand that I lost 37 grand. And if I would have quit, that was a moment of truth that I could have said, I'm done. I'm not good at flipping houses. I never would have been able to accomplish what I have. So just start moving forward, fail fast. It's okay to fail. I always ask my kids at dinner, what did you fail at today? Because I encourage failure in my house because I want them to fail. What did they fail? What did they learn? How can they grow? How can they develop? So it's okay to fail. Reach out to me. I would love to help anyone. I am 100% a go-giver. I love to give back and help people because I did the same thing when I was in your place. So reach out, let's talk. But yeah, just take that moment of truth and move forward with faith. You can do it. You can achieve these amazing things. You just have to start and just keep moving forward. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on. I know this is a weird luncheon, but thank you. Hopefully it was okay. Hopefully you got some value. You guys are awesome.
Awesome, man. Thanks, guys. Everyone have a great day.